Hi, thank you for joining me on Wilderness with Amani. It's time to fish Duck Lake, and I don't expect it to be easy. Diego and his brother fished there this morning. They didn't get anything. They got a couple bites. I went up to Pika Lake, and I showed a little video to show what it looked like, and I didn't immediately have success. I had to really figure it out, and eventually it turned out this small black woolly bugger sinking it in deep water. I was able to get 4 or 5 nice fish in the net, and I saw a couple good ones too that I pulled the fly away from, of course. You know how it is when you get it out there and the fish is coming for it and you think it's got it, but it doesn't. Hee-haw! So I'm gonna go down to Duck Lake right now and try to get you some rainbow trout action. It's really windy, and I'm just gonna go down there. I'm gonna start out with a jig. I'm gonna start out with a woolly bugger, but I don't know what it's going to be like once I start fishing. I expect it to be tough. I expect the fish to be finicky, but tough and finicky just means a little bit more of a challenge. And when I finally get something in the net, if I get something in the net, it'll be even more fulfilling. So let's go down and give it a shot. I mean, that's all you can do is start making casts. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So this area here, you see it drops off a ways out. There's no way I'm reaching that. And I'm not saying there can't be fish cruising through that shallow stuff right there, but it drops off pretty quick on the other side. I'm gonna go hike on out to that point straight ahead out there, and then I'm gonna start there. I'm gonna work my way back along that deep section, and hopefully we can get something. God, it's crazy when you're hiking and you just look up and see that. That is awesome. A lot of year-round snow this year. It's a glacial extravaganza. My buddies that are from work told me about this. They walked by here earlier. I don't know how I missed this. This is some ingenuity here. And it's got the cabin roof. They put a door frame into a hole in the rock, and then did a little mortar job on the sides. That's an interesting setup right there. I think I could live there. So I'm gonna start out what I was having luck with up top. This small black barbless woolly bugger with a bead head. And I had to let it sink, and then just giving it short pops. I did a lot of hard stripping, and I didn't get anything doing that. Nothing would even follow it. It was letting it sink and then giving it a couple pops. That's where the action came from. Going straight across this wind, and that way, as it's sinking, the wind will blow my line and give it some movement. And then I'm just watching my line. Ooh, there's one right there. There's one right there. There we go. There we go. I saw him rise. He swam by. And there's some nice rainbows. They're on this black woolly bugger. They didn't really want my jigs earlier, but the woolly buggers were good. Wow, this is a big brookie. Huh. It's a nice brook trout though. It was all rainbows up top, but I guess there's brookies in here. And this is a good one for an alpine lake. But this is a giant lake, so there we go. It's a nice brook trout right there. Beautiful fish. Get him back in the water. There he goes. That was funny. That's like the 3rd time today I've been doing a demonstration of how I caught that fish, or what my plan is, and I've hooked one while I'm doing the demonstration, which is good because then it tells you what I'm doing is working, so the demonstration is not a waste of your time. But again, now I'm just letting this drift, and that fish came up and just nailed it, and that was a nice brook trout. I'm looking for rainbows though. But if all I can catch is brook trout, I'm there. Man, this wind is blowing really hard and it's cold. It was freezing this morning. I didn't even start fishing till like 10 or 11. And it's the fall. It's getting down into the 30s. Low 30s, high 20s at night in this high backcountry. And you know, I'm watching my line. And the hits today so far have been really subtle or they've been really strong. So it's just kind of tough with this wind, but that's okay. We can figure it out. Once again, by the time I got the camera on, it was already gone. But I just hooked another one. I haven't been fishing that long, but man, there are just white caps across the lake. It's like 15-mile-an-hour steady winds with 20, 25-mile-an-hour gusts. My hat's already blown into the lake. I had to fish it out. Right. There are some nice brook trout. Ooh, he got off. There are some nice brook trout in this lake. And that guy got off. He was nice. All right. Shucks. Let's get this woolly bugger back out there. This is the only thing that's working. So if I can get a casting in between wind, I'm good. But I found they're cruising these points. There he is. There he is. They're cruising these points and they're fat and they're big brookies. I don't know where the rainbows are. They're down deep or something, but these brookies are cruising this shallow water and I've lost like 3 of them. So let's see if we can't get this one in the net, man. This guy's fighting. This water's ice cold. Woo-wee. Woo-wee. Brook trout. And I'm fishing these barbless flies, so it's always a little sketchy. But they're off these points, and I don't know why. I just know they're here. And they're hitting, man. These are nice brook trout. Look at these brookies. That is a big dinner. And I know my buddy Diego and his brother Donnie want to eat fish, but they got to catch their own, man. I'm not hauling fish back up to camp. So what I'm doing is, and you can tell the wind is just blasting. So I'm muscling it straight out as hard as I can. I get it out there, and then I let it sink a little, and then I'm stripping it. And these fish are cruising these, they're cruising right up. It's kind of shallow, rocky, and then it's a deep drop off. But these brookies are cruising the shore. So, I mean, this wind is just brutal, man. It is brutal. This is one of those situations where I was looking in the other direction. And all of a sudden I felt a tug. Oh, he came off. That was a big brookie too. Oh man, that's the second big brookie I've lost. That was a big one. That was one of the day. God, now that I know these big brookies are in here, I'd really like to run a jig down deep, but man, it is tough business. And I got 1/8 ounce marabou jigs, but man, they're tough to set the hook in this situation. And this black woolly bugger is like the thing that's working. There we go. Oh, no, that was the wind. It's very difficult to detect strikes in this wind. There's waves rolling in at this point. Back to that other rock. And my net is on the wrong side. Yeah. There he is. He swam to the wrong side of that rock on me. This guy is colorful. He's not as big as the other ones, but he's nice. All these brookies are nice. I now put Duck Lake in my nice brookie lake compilation. Beautiful fish. There he is. Look at the colors. Beautiful colors on that brook trout. It's a nice brookie too. Like Skeleton Lake has some nice brookies, Arrowhead, but they're not like these. And this is a giant lake too, so I'm sure that has something to do with it. The sun's still high in the sky. I'm gonna call it an early dinner though. I'm just tired and this wind. I'm down below my camp and it's shallow and the wind's not hitting right here. Where I was fishing earlier, and was getting those brookies was along that bank over there, and the wind is just howling along that bank, and it's brutal. You can see the white caps coming in, and it was very difficult, but it was, you know, the fish were good. It was this little black woolly bugger, and that's what they were hitting up at Pika or Pika Lake this morning, the rainbows, and that's what these brookies wanted. And I threw my jig a lot this morning, and those rainbows really didn't want it. And then by the time I got down here after lunch, it was so windy, I was casting that jig out, and it was skipping across the top of the water. I couldn't fish it. Now that I know these bigger brookies in here, I'd like to come here and fish those deep. Fish some jigs in that deeper water and see if there's something truly big in here, but I don't know. Because this lake is giant. So all I read about was rainbows, rainbows, rainbows in Ducks Lake. People told me about rainbows. All I got were some really nice brook trout. The ones I got in the net and the ones I lost. But it was fun. I'm just tired. It's time for an early dinner. So I'm gonna wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed fishing at Duck Lake today. And I highly recommend it. And if you come here, you get the 2-for-1. There's definitely rainbows in Pika. I validated that this morning. So thank you for joining me on Wilderness with Monty. Until next time.